So our topic today, Adam, is it's kind of a heavy one or deep one, however you want to put it. It's tribalism or community with regards to farming. And that's something you and I have talked about quite a bit. Uh, and it's we're going to delve into that a little bit more and explore the facets of it. And
Yeah.
Sherry just gave me a wonderful compliment. Thank you, Sherry. Thanks.
Hi,
Um,
Sherry.
but this concept of tribalism or community in the farming world. But first, Adam, let's make sure people know who we are. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you. And Adam, who are you?
Adam Kuzna. I write farming full time on Substack. Usually a weekly newsletter. Lately it's been kind of hit and miss. Been 1 week without, and then some weeks have two or three. But that's kind of my main place. I've got a little YouTube channel too for it. But yeah, my main hub is Substack, I guess. Farming full time.
And that inconsistency is because you're farming full time.
Correct.
And that's
Yes.
the primary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And I'm Liz Reitzig. I have Raw Milk Mama Substack and the Nourishing Liberty podcast. So if you are listening to this, you're probably listening to it as the Nourishing Liberty podcast. And Adam and I, have these conversations about what's going on in the modern world of U.S. agriculture. And we tackle some pretty tough subjects sometimes, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And including in our writing, right?
Yeah. Kind of tackle the things not many people are too excited to talk about, I guess.
Yes. So today, that's one of the things that's what we're approaching. We're talking about this idea of, you write about it, and one of your recent newsletters you wrote about it. So I'm going to be reading from that newsletter a little bit. But you're talking about some of these concepts around the whether is something community, or are we engaged in tribalism in these encounters. So Adam, one thing though I want to start off with is awareness, because one of your recent pieces brought that to mind. And this is about, like, earlier this month, we had Teacher Appreciation Week. And actually, I think we were scheduled to go on. Oh, yeah, maybe it was 3 weeks ago. We were scheduled to go on Teacher Appreciation Day. So we are going to talk about that and, like, what happened to Farmer Appreciation Day?
Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
this is since 1953, we've been celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week here in the US. And first it was just May 6th, and then it expanded to a whole week. And what does it mean that we're celebrating teachers? And great. I'm an educator too. I've homeschooled my children. I was a teacher before I had children. So great. I want to celebrate our teachers. This is not to disparage that at all, but, like, also, what about our farmers? The people who are putting our food there to grow and bringing it to us. What about them?
Yeah.
So what's going on with that?
Yeah. What about them? Is there a Farmer Appreciation Day? I don't even know. There's a
No,
day
there isn't.
for.
There is, like, a very general agriculture day, like
Is
something
there?
like that. But it's not to appreciate farmers.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's kind of the point of why I started writing in the first place, was awareness. Let people know that we're still here, and a little deeper than that was the mental health side of it and the struggles that I kept reading about farm suicides and just depression in rural communities, farming communities, farmers themselves. And I just wanted to talk about it. I have 40 years of experience, 40 years of stories, and stories are, it's like the main way we communicate. So I don't know. I just wanted to tell stories and build awareness, let people know that we are here. And just kind of stick up for the farmer, because we get kind of demonized by people, depending on what tribe you're in. Some people think the large commercial farmers like myself are the enemy and we're doing things wrong. And I don't know. I just want us to have a voice, let people know we exist.
Well, let me read you a quote from your essay. You say, "They say farmers feed the world. Funny how no one wants to hear what we have to say." And your story was about how we minimize and make farmers invisible. And I'm actually blanking on the title. Do you remember the title of that one? Oh, it was Don't Talk with Your Mouth Full.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I had to
Yeah.
think about it too. It's been so long. Feels like a
And you've
lifetime
written
ago.
several others since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the disconnection then.
Yeah. Where do you think it comes from? Why do you why is there a disconnect? I don't
Well,
know.
that's what I was going to ask you.
Is it just because there's so few of us? Because we're the 1 to 2%? Um, yeah, I can't figure it out. I don't know why it is. I'm curious to see what you think.
Wow. I think there's so many things all at once. It's hard to separate them out. Um, for sure, it's because we've all become disconnected from where and how our food is produced.
Yeah.
When I look at some of the experiences I've had just as being a teacher, a gardening teacher, and helping other people start their gardens or working with groups of children on growing something for the first time, maybe, there's such a disconnection between, like, the example I want to use is people, and this is not in any way to disparage anyone, but people literally don't know that like one radish seed produces one radish. Or what do carrot greens look like? And I want to use that as an example, not as, I think it's very important that people ask questions, even ones that feel foolish or silly at the time. I do it all the time. Just ask whatever question comes to mind because none of us can know all of it and we all need to start somewhere. But it also shows where we are as a society and the level of disconnect that we've gotten to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very few people know how to grow food. I just grew my or planted my first garden for, I've planted a few things around my house in previous years, but it's been a long time. And yeah, there's something that feels reconnecting about that, just planting a garden. I plant stuff around here all the time, but I do it with a tractor and heavy machinery. So you're in the dirt, but you're not really in the dirt, if that makes sense. But I don't know, there's something about doing it by hand that's kind of cool, I guess.
Well, and I think also because of this disconnection, we're seeing one thing that we're just seeing like little pieces of farming, not seeing the whole reality of it. And it's either, to your point, it's either glamified, is that a
Yeah.
word? Or it's the horrors of it. So as a society, I mean, we're inundated with these images of either like, oh, here's this beautiful, pristine farm, or here's this horrible, destructive CAFO, confinement animal feeding operation,
Yeah.
or a horrible commodity farm. And we're not getting to see the nuances in there and the realities. And I know that's something where you focus on that a whole lot.
Right. Yeah. And that same farm could either be, like you said, this beautiful, pristine farm that, somebody that's trying to sell agriculture might show that, but then somebody trying to sell the bad side of agriculture, the chemical use, the fertilizer use, they can make that same farm look like the demon and all of it too. It just depends on what side of agriculture are you trying to show, because there's so many different sides to it, so many different types of agriculture. It leads to that tribalism. What tribe are you in? There's,
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say is
who's,
that
who's the
these
bad
images
guy?
that we're fed, pun
Yeah.
intended, are designed to shock and manipulate. They're
Yeah.
not designed to give us a whole picture and access,
Right.
right? They're
Right.
still designed to keep us disconnected and as you said, fit us into which tribe. Which tribe are you in and fight the
Right.
other tribe.
When at the end of the day, behind all of it, behind no matter what camp you're in, it's human beings behind all of it.
Yeah.
And that's the side of it I try to show, the human being side of it, try to humanize it and just make people feel what it's like. Yeah.
It's human beings and ecosystems, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
At
it's
the
all
same time.
connected. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But Adam, let's get a little personal though because so much of your writing centers around the what's the right word for it? What happens with that tribalism? What happens when commodity farmers are attacked or other farmers are worshipped and turned into heroes? Like, what's the impact of that on our culture, on our farming communities? Because we're talking about the difference between here, the tribalism versus community.
Well, on a basic level, it separates us, divides us. Uh, Yeah, it just seems to take away any sense of unity that we should have. We could all work together to get better at all the things we're doing, but instead of that, we're at each other's throats. Like, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. Um, you're destroying this ecosystem, this environment. It seems like, and a lot of policy gets shaped around that too. Around people's opinions, and it shapes policy because it pushes policymakers to do something. Because it just all these problems are out there, and they got to look like they're doing something. So it just pushes them into policies that, as we talked about a few weeks ago, we don't even know that they're bad policies until years down the road, until two administrations later. But yeah, it shapes. Do you know where I'm going with this? Am I making
I'm actually
sense?
going to read to you a quote from that same newsletter, that same essay that you wrote.
Sure.
And this is the one on the. I'll link to it, of course, in the published article, and it's the one on uh, if you're criticizing a farmer, don't do it with your mouth full, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
you wrote about the people holding up the world while everyone else scrolls past, about why these stories need space, why people need to see the backbone holding this whole thing up, because it's not about politics. It's not about whining. It's about telling the truth from the dirt floor on up.
Yeah. Humanizing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Adam, when you think about this, you write a lot in your essays, and I wrote one recently. It was on any given day, and it was about some of this shared sadness of the pressures to just create and be part of this consumer culture, and yet we're missing so much of the natural world in the process. It is
Yeah.
about going deeper and looking deeper and understanding that what we're maybe all longing for is to wake up in a clean world,
Yeah.
right? Not
Yeah.
one where we're wondering about all the plastics choking our oceans and uh, all the things that are messed up right now. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
once that avalanche starts, it's hard to stop it. But that's the connection piece of it that you write about as well. It's like we're looking for community, not tribalism. And how
Right.
do we separate that? Like, how can we have community without having the tribalism? And let's talk about elbows on hoods because you use that visual in yours. So
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah. Elbows on hoods. I guess that's just the idea of two farmers maybe meeting on a gravel road or at a grain elevator or a coffee shop and just kind of talking shop, discussing ideas. Hey, what worked for you? What didn't work for you? Learning from each other so we can grow and we can do a better job, not only to put more money in our pockets, but to be better. I hate to use this term, stewards of the land, but to be better stewards of the land, to be better farmers. And we work together to do that. That's how we've done it for since the beginning, since the first seed was planted. That's how it works. And if we're all just out here yelling at each other, trying to disconnected, not working together, it leads us nowhere. And like I said, it leads to those poor policies and just an ultimate disconnection from each other, from everything. Which, like you said, I don't know, disconnected is kind of the order of the or the name of the game these days. Everybody's disconnected. I'm in my phone half the day, not knowing what the hell's going on. I took a day off from my phone on Sunday. What a great day. It was amazing.
Congratulations.
Right?
Well,
Like, you know,
let me bring up something else though, because this just ties in really nicely. So, an article I wrote a few weeks ago was "Facts Don't Matter." Okay, I don't know if you read that one or not, but
mhm,
it's not that literally facts don't matter; it's that they don't compel us to action. And so I wrote, so it's all emotional and reactive, right? That's the point of all the inundation with facts that we're getting. It's just to be emotional and reactive and tribal.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
wrote, we've got the facts. We all know how to lose weight. We know that we need to exercise, eat protein, and get proper sleep to age gracefully and healthfully. We know that growing a garden means getting delicious veggies, local food, and reducing plastic consumption and waste. But none of that knowing makes you healthier. You actually have to take action to
yeah.
find cleaner foods, cook at home, plant a garden, get outside in the daytime, go to bed, and get a good night's sleep, and so on. So, how are these two concepts related? The community and being with and around each other and actually learning from each other, but taking action at the same time.
Huh. Well, I think because we all know the right thing to do, you know? We like you said, we all know how to eat right, how to lose weight. I know how to do all those things. I know how to get the right amount of sleep, but how many of us actually do them? Probably about the same percentage of the world that farms. I don't know. But I mean, but you're right, emotions get in the way. Just like with this tribalism we're talking about, emotions get in the way of that too. And it just clouds your judgment and it blocks you off, it disconnects you. It maybe
Yeah.
makes it uncomfortable. Just like it's uncomfortable to eat right, healthy, and it's not as much fun. And it's not as easy. We all want the easy thing, right? And
And the thing that we're
it's easy to shout.
habituated to.
It's easier to point and shout and point fingers than it is to stop and just listen to somebody else and actually try to understand where they're coming from, you know?
How do we shift into that curiosity? Because you have that skill. So how would you tell others to shift from that judgy and finger pointing attitude into that curiosity?
I don't know. I don't know what I would tell people. Not everybody's like me or you where we try to figure ourselves out or because that's uncomfortable too, you know, looking at those sides of yourself that maybe the sides you don't like about yourself or the sides that get you into trouble or, you know, it's hard to face those things and but it's necessary. But how would I get somebody else to do that? I don't know. I guess my way of trying is just doing it by myself and showing people that hey, I didn't die by talking about this uncomfortable thing. You know, most people forget about it in 5 minutes. So, um, and just remind people that most people aren't, they don't care about you. They're just thinking about themselves the whole time. We all are. I guess that's how I would try to do it, but I don't know if that's good advice or not. How would you
And
do it?
telling your stories. I think telling your stories does it.
Yeah, I think so. How would you do it? Is there a different way, a better way?
No, I mean, I think telling stories is very important and being vulnerable. But then I also look at, I'm somebody who develops strong convictions.
Same.
And at the same time, I want to continue to approach things with curiosity because I have convictions, I don't want to judge.
Sure.
And so those can conflict at times because if I say, oh, I have this conviction on um, what is healthy eating or how agriculture practices can help restore topsoil, like where's the line between genuine curiosity and exploration versus giving up on that conviction? So Adam, it's something I struggle with is understanding like speaking from both places at once, both conviction and curiosity.
Yeah.
It's I grapple with that. And I think you do as well. And then also the hierarchy of values. It's like to me, people are so, so, so important. And that compassion
Yeah.
is important. And so in that hierarchy of values, well, that is higher in that hierarchy than being right or righteous about my convictions.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you separate conviction from just having a hard line about something, or just a hot take, or an opinion you were either given or that you manufactured? Like, how do you separate that from conviction? What's right, what's wrong? That's really tough. But
Yes, and Sherry adds that telling your stories gives people the space to be vulnerable, like permission.
yeah, yeah,
And yes, I mean, I
exactly.
think I think it's true. Like we do connect around stories. That's just
Yeah.
part of our human nature. So, Adam, regarding the politics and tribalism, like politics and tribalism on one hand versus true community on the other, you write about this really poignantly, and I'm going to quote from your recent article uh, from another section of the same one, where you write, "Now the old guys are gone. The young ones move away. Most days, you drive to town and back without seeing a soul. But I still believe in community. Two farmers, elbows on the hood, exchanging field notes like it still matters, because it does. We don't have coffee shops full of growers anymore. We don't have elevator offices anymore. No folding chairs by the scale window, no radio humming low while three guys solve the world's problems between loads. But we do have this. And this, you're talking now about Substack and the
Hmm.
communities on here. Substack, comment threads, notes, late night emails, unexpected friendships. We built something here, something real. Sometimes that's all you need, a spot where people know where to find you. The irony? By being ignored, we built something better. We found each other in the quiet, in the dust. No spotlight, no handout, just grit. So, talk about that for a little bit.
I could picture the grain elevator and that folding chair by the scale. I like that line. But yeah, we don't have much of that anymore. I mean, the average farmer age in the country is almost 58. Um, nobody want Hardly anybody wants to do this life anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and that's all I've seen my whole life, is my community get smaller and smaller and smaller. And my community actually held on for a long time compared to a lot. I mean, there's in North Dakota, there's a ton of towns that have been dead for 40 or 50 years, and I used to see those as a kid and think, wow, this is depressing. And now it's come to our small towns too. There's just not enough people left. I mean, if you're not tied to a farmer, the first thing you do is get out of here. And half the farm kids get out of here too for a while. And it seems like a lot of them end up coming back because there's something about farming that just gets in your blood. Um, I don't know where I was going with that either. It's just kind of rambling.
Well, I'm going to read on then.
Yeah.
You say farmers from around the world swapping stories like they used to swap seed tips over coffee at the Cenex. Turns out you don't need four walls to build a community. You just need people willing to show up. And we showed up. So maybe it was meant to happen this way. The love of fate. The idea that even the hard shit was part of the plan. You don't have to believe it, but I do. And here's what I didn't realize until I sat down to write this: I couldn't have done it alone. This community, this strange, scattered, glorious mess of farmers, thinkers, rebels, and writers, we didn't just survive the silence. We grew something in it. We're building what we lost. Not the building, but the soul. And let's just give that a pause for a second, because that's some good writing right there.
Thank you. But we did, right?
Yes, but what's so why this topic? Why tribalism versus community? Because Adam, in this community that you're talking about, we have members of so many different tribes.
Right.
We have the permaculturists, we have the grass-based farmers, we have the veggie growers and the conservation farms and the conventional farms. We have little bits of all of this, and the we've all put down our tribalism walls.
Yeah, we have.
It works. It
Yeah,
works.
it just
It
shows that
works.
shows we can do it, right? Yeah. And even without an agriculture category, which we still don't have, and who knows if we ever will. We don't need it.
We
We
don't need
built
it.
it. No, we built it. And the people that want to find us will find us, or the people that were meant to find us will find us.
But it is also it's this sharing of ideas, and I think that like once you share ideas and expand in certain ways, you can't go back to those previous dimensions.
No.
So we're we're really creating this feeding ground. I mean, for lack of a better analogy, right? But this place where we are gathering and we are sharing these ideas and we're all expanding our thinking when it comes to agriculture and our food systems and our food policy. Most specifically, I am referencing here in the US, but as you know, and we both know, we have other writers and great thinkers from other parts of the world that are
Yeah.
contributing to this broader thinking around our food systems.
Hmm.
And I almost want to say that we've been stuck in a tribalistic and politically, I don't mean this in our two-party system, I mean this in a different way, but politically partisan food system
Yeah.
where it's either this or this, and there's no in between and there's no room for nuance.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute.
And what this does, it puts a face on it. Again, it humanizes it. It takes down that wall. It breaks down that tribalism, and it just opens up a little bit of space for new ideas, or even just enough space for the people in the tribe to say, well, maybe there's another side to us to this, and maybe they'll just at least take a look at it. It brings this open-mindedness to it, I think. Talking about it like this, humanizing it, putting a face to it.
And I think ultimately, maybe I'm incorrect in this assessment, but my perception of it is that so many of us are looking for solutions to what we see as a very damaged food system. And that's not just in what people are eating, it's in how it's being produced, where it's being produced and processed, how it's getting to us. And we're actively looking for solutions to that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, and more people are looking for that solution than you'd think, you know. Goes I keep saying that people are farming is becoming cool again. Our Grand Forks, the town I live in, was dead all weekend. Memorial Day weekend, everybody's shoes off to the lake. And Sherry and I ran some errands, and we went to the one place we went to that had people was All Seasons Garden Center. Couldn't
Oh,
move in there. It's packed. Barely found a place to park. I mean, there's an appetite for it.
how does that? So to me, it sounds like there's a mild contradiction, and I know there's nuances in here. So how does that fit with your previous statement that nobody wants to farm anymore? It's everybody's aging out or moving out.
I guess that when I said that, I was thinking the type of farming I do, the big commercial farming, farm a couple thousand acres of wheat, soybeans, and corn. It doesn't seem. It seems like nobody wants to do that when they leave high school because they've probably seen what their dads went through or their parents went through, the stress, the toll it took on them. Not to mention the dads telling them, "Get out of here! Don't do this. You don't want this. You don't want this," and they're almost pushed out, And
What are you
then
seeing there? Are you seeing a need to fill jobs and not enough people to fill them?
absolutely, yeah, everybody's short of help. Most of most guys that hire farmhands now look for exchange workers from South Africa, Europe. That's pretty much all that's up here. There's nobody hardly anybody just has especially a part-time seasonal farm job because it all happens so fast now. We start planting and most guys can put the whole crop in 2 weeks. Well, it used to take 2 months in the spring, 3 to 4 in the fall. It was almost a just about a full-time job for a guy, it could support him through most of the year. And there's just technology's gotten so good that it doesn't take much time. So you can't really make a living doing it. So the way and farmers can't afford to pay a living wage. The only way they can do that is to go through these programs because they can pay these migrant workers less, and it's the economics of it. There's a lot of factors at play with that.
So tell me a little bit more about the differences. It used to take 2 to 3 months to plant, and now it's only 2 weeks. What happened there? Why?
Equipment has just gotten so massive, so efficient. Like, um, that'd be the biggest thing. Yeah, is equipment size.
Does that mean, okay, walk me through this. Does that mean it used to be that you would have, like, you would plant fewer fields in a day, and now you can plant, because
Fewer.
everything's like, I've seen some of the newer planters, like, they're just so wide they can probably plant like 30 rows at a time.
Yeah, there's a couple around here that have 48 row planters. So that's 48 rows on 22 inches. That's 120 feet wide. Where when I was a kid, we had 30 feet wide planters. So you would work on a half section of ground that's 320 acres. You would work at that all day, and you probably wouldn't get that planted in a single day. And with today's machinery, you can plant a half section in that same field 6, 8 hours, depending on your machinery size. We've just gotten so efficient that
Well,
it flies by. You can't believe how fast you get the crop in. Like the planter we have, I can plant at 10, 11 miles an hour. And when I was a kid, that was a no-no. It used to be 5 miles an hour tops. That's it. And
so
now we
you
can
use
just,
that word efficient and efficiently differently than I
yeah, I know. I was wondering if that would,
would.
yeah, it gets done really
Yeah.
fast.
It gets done fast, which
Yeah,
sounds like efficiency from some angles, but
yeah.
as
Well, it
you've
is. And
noted, it creates a whole plethora of other problems and challenges.
yeah, well, yeah. And humans displaced from work is one of those knock-on effects that probably didn't think about. Now, there's one guy around here that's testing an autonomous tractor. There isn't even a person in the cab.
Ooh, we've talked about that a little bit before, but that
It's
is that is
it's
not something
really
I'm ready for.
it is really strange to watch, man. It's crazy. We're entering a weird time. Yeah.
I mean, we're in a weird time. Like, I
We're
think
in
we
a weird time.
a while
Yeah.
ago, but it really
Yeah.
begs the question, like, what are we here for?
Yeah. I know.
What are we here for?
Hmm.
And for me, I mean, now, look, I want to put some caveats on here that I'm not making a living doing this, right? But planting my garden and actually doing the physical aspects of it myself. And I'm one of those, like, I don't even want to wear gloves while I'm weeding or planting or anything because I want to feel all of that. Like, it's part of that sensory feedback that I
Hmm.
believe we're designed for. Like, we're
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. Like, if I can't feel that, if I can't feel the plants in my hand and feel the seeds, like, what am I here for?
Right.
Right?
Just, yeah.
And you should have seen, like, just the past couple weeks, like, this is the cleanest my hands have been in days, right?
Yeah.
And because that's part of the fun of it. And
Yeah.
look, I mean, I know that the scale is different and it's not it's not my living, right? But if like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sound so crazy and idealistic in this, but if we can hyper localize some of these responsibilities and bring them back to the personal level, like, we would have different bodies and we would have different relationships with each other, with our communities, with the earth, and we would have a different food system.
Yeah. We definitely
And we wouldn't need autonomous tractors.
would. Yeah. It's a strange future. It really is.
I
I'm
mean,
trying to
we grew
dock.
up thinking we were going to get flying cars, right?
I
They've had
know,
autonomous tractors on their radar.
right? That's wild.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. Makes me think about how much change like the old guys have seen. Like if you're
Yeah.
85 or 90 years old and you went from a barely having tractors to what we have now, man, that's got to just blow your mind. It blows my mind, and I'm not even halfway there yet.
I get it. And
Yeah.
it opens up questions in my mind about that community versus tribalism. Like, is age a factor of this? Is entrenched ideologies, are they a factor?
Yes. Yes.
Because I don't want to. I'm definitely, I definitely am feeling very tribal about being non-autonomous tractors. Like, talk about that conviction showing up in weird ways, but that doesn't mean like attacking humans about it. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. Like that's where I get tribalistic. Like, no, farming is this. It is not autonomous tractors. And here we go, like representing this conversation in this conversation, tribalism versus community. Like, is there a place for that? I'm gonna grapple with that. I'm gonna have trouble with that, Adam. I have to be honest. Like,
Yeah, that's okay.
I think we are here for these relationships with each other and with the earth.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like to think so too, but yeah, when you see a tractor out there driving by itself, you really wonder if you how long you're gonna have a place in this world, you know? It's another reason I try to document it, just what it's like, because
yes.
it's not gonna look the same in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years,
Well, and
100. My God.
ostensibly, like all of this efficiency, as some people call it, or uh, modernization, and now this use of AI, ostensibly, it's all here to make our lives easier and make our lives better. But my life
Hmm.
is not better not getting to play in the dirt, literally, plant my own garden.
Yeah, well, we gotta have something to do, right? I mean, we can't automate every single aspect of our lives. It's
What are
just
we here for?
my high school principal used to say, "Idle hands are the devil's playground," and that's true. If we don't have anything to do, what I don't know what that world looks like, but I don't really want to know. I don't think.
I don't either. Wow. Well, we are definitely digging into much deeper topics here as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Topics for another day because you still have farming to do today.
I do. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm gonna go weed the garden.
Perfect.
Which, even weeding the garden, it really has its purposes. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah. It's like a meditation.
It is. And final thought here. Okay, so in some of my stories that I tell, I talk about people coming together to produce food or weed the garden together, weed the field. And there's truly nothing like it. I mean, when a group of people set a goal, an achievable goal, we can weed this entire field of buckwheat or beans or whatever it is. We can do it. And of
Hmm.
course, the farms I'm talking about are organic farms where it has to be hand weeded.
Right. Right.
But those experiences are valuable. Like, there is no other word for it. Those experiences are
Yeah.
so inherently valuable. And
Yeah.
being able to set a goal with a group of people together and then achieve that goal, I mean, woof, talk about real dopamine. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it's for, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
to reinforce those activities and the bonding that comes with those activities.
Hmm. Yeah. Some of my best memories are from that. From some of the I call them the worst jobs I've ever done, pulling weeds or pulling, yeah,
Can you
kosher
give an
plants out of.
example?
Oh yeah, we have to do it all the time. Sugar beets will bolt, they call them, where the I don't know what causes it, if it's environment or what it is, but the leaves will just go to seed and they'll shoot out this long bolt full of seeds, and we can't. Um, we have to remove those from the field. And some years they get pretty bad. Like last year, Josh, the guy I worked with, Sherry, my daughter, I think it was four of us, maybe five. We were out and walked this field for hours getting it done, and it kind of sucks while you're at it, but it's a good memory. I don't get to spend that much time with my daughter, so that's that bonding you're talking about, and And when it's done, it feels great. That's that dopamine you
Yeah.
talk about, you know? So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people are longing for these days, that all of this autonomous everything can never replace.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all just a bunch of dopamine addicts, I guess. A basic level.
Well, you simplify it. Okay.
Yeah.
Tribalism versus community. Well, we're all a bunch of dopamine addicts. That's true.
There we go.
That's
And on that disappointing note, it's time to end.
all right. Adam, thank you so much. And once again,
Yeah, thank
Adam
you.
is a writer on Substack, farming full time. I am
Yes.
Liz Reitzig, Raw Milk Mama on Substack. And if you're listening to this, it is the Nourishing Liberty podcast. You can find us on Substack and Spotify and all the places. So, any final parting thoughts?
I don't think so. Feels good to be back at it though after
Yeah,
3 weeks. So yeah. So
we'll
thank
be
you.
back when
Yeah.
farming permits.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Looking forward to it. All right. Take
Have a great
care.
day.
You too.